All right, let me show you how to create this really simple neon glow effect on a photo and how to mask it out. Even though you only have two layers, let's figure out how to get this to look like this item that's on top is actually looking like it's hidden below. It's kind of an optical illusion. So I'm going to show you how to set that up. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. You're going to go into Photopea and go ahead and do File and New. And let's make a blank canvas, call it Neon. Go ahead and type in 800 pixels by 1000 pixels and hit create. So let's do that, create. And now we're going to open up the picture of this turkey vulture that I took a picture of in my backyard. Thing is giant, like, and kind of creepy. Look at that face. Super creepy. All right, let's zoom out a little bit. We're going to move this background into the new neon document you created. Now, this photo is way bigger than we need, so let's go ahead and do Control-0 to zoom out. Now, one of the things that happens in these programs is you might have one checkbox not turned on, or you might have one option setting incorrect, and it'll throw everything off, and it'll be super confusing. You'll get really frustrated. Send me a message, and I'll help you with it. I made all the mistakes you're making, so I'm going to be able to figure out and help you fix whatever it is. Part of those mistakes, that's the learning. I'm going to continually tell you that, so it's okay. If you're agonizing over why it's just not working, hit me up. I'll help you. Here's the one button. This happens all the time. See how when I turn that checkbox off, it turns off those transformation bounding boxes, the borders of your image. If that's not turned on, you can't see where to go to change. So turn that one on. Now I'm going to hold down the shift key and I'm going to resize the image so that it doesn't distort, doesn't become too squished or too spread out. I don't want to get all of the power lines. I basically just want the main portion of the bird, but I want a little bit of room behind his tail. So somewhere about there. And I'm going to hit check mark. I'm going to press Control-0 to zoom in. I'm going to rename this layer. I'm going to do turkey vulture. I'm going to delete this background layer because we won't need that. And I'm going to make a new layer. So this one right down here next to the trash can, new layer. All right, we're going to call this layer neon line. And let's go ahead and use the pin tool to make a neon line. To access the pin tool, it's this one right here, or you can press the letter P. See how the tooltip pops up with the letter P. We're going to change some settings on this pin tool. And we'll get way more into the pin tool when we start doing vector drawing. But for now, let's start simple. Click on the fill and make sure you have the black, or you have the red X, that's a none. Click on the stroke and make sure you've chosen white. And then for the actual stroke weight, go ahead and type in 16. And it's PT is how many points. So 16 point. All right. Once you have those settings set up in the option bar, you're going to come down here, right around where his head is, slightly above the head. I'm going to click once. I'm going to come back over here, and whenever I use the pin tool just by itself, by clicking, it's going to make a straight line. So I'm going to come somewhere about, I don't know, up here by the wing, somewhere like right there. And now I'm going to come down here by the telephone pole, I don't know, right about there to make a triangle. And now I can come all the way back to the starting point, and I've got this triangle. Now, you could switch to the move tool if you want to move this thing around. I just want to make sure don't run it across where the beak is. I want to make this a simple mask job. All right, so somewhere about there. All right, so now that you have that white line showing up, let's go ahead and add in some special effects to make it look a little bit more like neon. So what you're going to do with this is you're going to choose your neon line layer. And we're going to start with putting in an outer glow. So it looks like there's actual light coming out of this line. So outside of the line. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so we can kind of see what's going to happen here. So let's go to the neon line. Let's hit effect and let's go to outer glow. Now with outer glow, what you're going to do is I'm just going to give you these settings. Don't worry about memorizing all of this, but you can kind of see as I use this slider, see how certain things are happening. If I use this slider, something else is happening. So there's never going to be, if you want to experiment, there's never going to be like the perfect number to put in. So you got to get over that. Some of this is just experimenting. And then you mix in these blending modes and then it does even more stuff. So don't worry about not understanding every single bit of this. If you just get to the point at the beginning where like, oh, I can click on this and I can choose a color. There you go. Boom. You've learned one thing. That's perfectly fine. So for this, I'm fine with you using whatever color you want. But if you want to use the exact ones that I'm using, I'm going to grab a purple and I'm going to make it a light color. So if you choose your own color, choose a light color of a version of whatever color you're using. For this one, there's these hexadecimal numbers. If you want to save yourself time, you can just type that in, E148D4, and click OK. And then I'm going to change the spread. And I'm going to play around with the size a little bit. Ooh, I don't want it that far out. Maybe, here, I'll just type in. I'm going to do a 6%. I'm going to do on here for the size, I'm going to do like a 50%. And then for my opacity, I'm going to do 50. So essentially, if you want to make it look like mine, screen 50, gradient color is changed to a purple, like a light purple. My spread is set to 6 and my size is set to 50. Now we're going to do the interior portion of this. So I'm going to do a inner glow. So click on the word inner glow. I already have some of the settings here, so that's why it immediately changed. But yours by default is going to look a little bit more like this at the beginning. So that when you look at it, it doesn't look like anything's happening. What we're going to do is we're going to change this blending mode to multiply, which is going to darken the pixels. And I'm going to switch my color to that purple, but instead of the light version of it, I'm going to move down and use a darker version of this. So somewhere right about there. If you want to use the same number, you can. D322B1. Now click OK. And then now, as you play around with the opacity, see what's happening to the interior of the line. It's making it more solid. So for this, I'm just going to type in 35. I'm going to come down here to the spread is 0, and I'm going to change the size. I don't want it to be too big because it's just going to fill the line. I'm going to change that to like 9 and click away. So I get a little bit of that coming in. So with this one, I did multiply 35. I changed the color, did the spread, and then did the size and clicked OK. All right, so that's actually looking kind of cool. When you zoom in a little bit, you can see where the color's bleeding out, and it's got this shadow, so it creates almost the illusion like it's a fluorescent light bulb or like a baseball bat. Think about when you look at something like that, there's a little bit of a shadow on the outside. It makes it look like it's actually three-dimensional a little bit. All right, so click on your Turkey Vulture layer, and let's go ahead and turn off the neon line. We're going to switch to the object select. Actually, no, not object select. Sorry. We're going to click on the quick selection. It's going to take a moment. It's analyzing the photo. And now what I want to do is I want to click on the telephone pole. So what it's done is it's done a mask around the telephone pole. The reason that's going to be useful is now when I go back to my neon line, actually I did that out of order. Let's do something. I just realized I need to put the mask on this layer. Press Control D. Put the mask on the layer, neon line. Now go to your Turkey Vulture. If I do it the other way, it's going to mess stuff up. Just trust me. Let's go here and switch back to your quick select. Apologize for that. I did it a little out of order. I just want to save ourselves some time, and I don't want to re-record the whole video. So right here on Turkey Vulture, go ahead and once again click with your quick selection on the telephone pole. And now switch to your neon line. What we're going to do is we're going to paint away this color by going to your paintbrush. Make sure that your color at the top is black. If it's not, go ahead and press D and then flip this here. So you're swapping your foreground color with your background color. So once this is black, now you can paint away. So by making the selection of the telephone pole on the Turkey Vulture layer, what you've done is you've protected the outside. So now the glow effect isn't happening on top of the Turkey Vulture. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to make it look like the glow is happening behind this wing. So it's the same thing. Since we did the quick select and there's a strong contrast between the background and the object, that quick select worked. If it didn't, you're going to have to use the lasso key and some other stuff to clean that up. But I'm just going to erase that. And now I'm going to zoom out. I press Control 0. I'm going to click on the Turkey Vulture layer. And now it actually looks like there is a little bit of that glow happening. But I'm noticing I don't really see the glow nearly as much as I do on my original. So I'm going to press Control D. I'm going to go in under the effect, and I'm going to make the glow a little bit heavier. So let's take this, and I am going to increase the opacity just a little bit. I'm looking at his tail. I want to actually see some of that glow hitting the bird. So I'm going to increase that up to a little bit more, to like 83. See if that helps. Yeah, that definitely helps a lot more. Zoom out a little bit, and there you go. Now you've got a neon glow effect. Pretty basic effect, but kind of a cool, interesting way to do stuff, and then also a way to be able to make it look like it's hidden behind the layer when that layer is actually below what you've worked on.